Survivor 41. We are super excited to talk about Survivor tonight. I have with me the trio, myself, Charles Warren with Charles Warren Online, and Drew with Angel Cake Entertainment. And we are super excited to dive into this episode. So let's just dive right on in. Off the top, let's talk about who do we like and who do we
Mm.
dislike. We watched episode one. We all did a cast assessment, so we had our who we were feeling before we saw episode one. Did anything change, or is there still a standout person for you and a standout person that you're ready to see go home?
Drew, did you do a Survivor cast?
I did not.
Okay, so who is
Oh,
your faves? Who we want to hear you first?
Well, just going off of because I didn't really do too much deep diving into the season before the season started. So just from episode one, I liked Danny a lot. I thought he was actually pretty savvy. I liked that he was gung ho and wanting to go do the new mission of whether to protect their vote or risk the vote. I actually love Chantel in this episode. I thought she was playing the game really well when going to the tribal. She was talking about her options. She was talking about her the way where she stands with all the cast and having to make a decision early on who she wanted to be paired up with and who she could trust depending on who the vote was going towards. I loved her little edit with her music. To me, I think she was getting an all-around really great edit last night. The people that I may get on my nerves is I think David, the scientist or
surgeon.
the surgeon. I was not feeling him whatsoever in the episode. I don't know what it was, but I was not into him. And Brad also was just awkward to me. I'm happy he was on JD's side because there's something about JD that I'm just like, maybe because I'm a little younger, I was more on like, yeah, JD. But I was happy that Brad was helping him out. But he just, I don't know. He's going to just stick around for a little bit and then he's going to be kicked off, I think, here very soon.
Charles, did anything change for you? Who is your lead and who are on your nerve right now?
So I agree that Chantel was the clear standout for the very first long episode. She seems like, she knows what's going on, different things
Mhm.
like that. We'll just see how that will progress. Beyond her, I I like JD,
Mhm.
but to me, JD is giving me too much. He's
Yeah.
he's giving me like audition tape vibes with his like confessionals
He's just
and
happy to be
the
there.
way, yeah, he's giving too much. I feel like that was kind of overwhelming because you could tell that, I guess with editing, they were trying to make the art to seem like he was going home.
They
Yeah.
did.
So they kept showing him a lot, a lot, a lot, and we kept hearing him talk about how Survivor is so, so, so important to him. Maybe that's what got on my nerves after hearing that for a while. But still, my number one, the person that I think is going to win the game, is has not changed. I still
Chantel.
think no, Deshaun. Deshaun is the person that
Oh,
I
Deshaun.
I picked
No.
preseason to win the entire game. Hmm.
Shall see. My favorite person right now is Chantel. I've loved her pregame and I love her even more now. I think she has a great personality. I love how she hums that tune. It's like I'm about to be evil, so let me hum a little bit. I love everything about her, and I love that she made the correct decision in the end to stick with JD. The person who is the most on my nerve right now, and she was the most on my nerve during preseason, is Evie. Yes,
Hmm.
I can't put my exact finger on it, but I don't. I think she ruined her tribe, but we'll get to that when we talk about the tribes. We'll dig more into how I believe she ruined her tribe. But let's jump right into the episode. The first thing The first thing we get that I want to only give 60 seconds worth of time to, because I don't want to go down a huge rabbit hole. The whole come on in, guys. Number one, I didn't even know that was a Survivor thing. Like, if Jeff would have just started the show with come on in, I wouldn't have known the difference. I wouldn't have known the difference. But Jeff wanted to ask everyone a question. My question to you all is not that about the guys or anything, because I do understand some people are offensive, or not offensive, but sensitive to it. So I will be respectful of that. But do you think Jeff had to make a question and answer of it? Like, could he have just changed it and let it be?
Good question. I didn't think of it that way.
I think you could have done both. I think he wanted to address it to like make it aware, like this is going to be the new normal going forward to not only the cast but to everyone, because Survivor has like long-term fans that are like super into it. They're super into the strategy and everything, that they know all the lore, they know all of the what makes Jeff tick and everything, and his what he says in every episode. So I mean, I'm sure if he just said come on in, people would have been like, what? He never says that. He always says guys. What happened to the guys? And he could have had like a press thing that comes after this episode where he had like a Entertainment Weekly article about why he's dropped the guys, and I think it would have been just as much as him bringing it up. But I mean, that was his choice, and he wanted to bring it up to make it a point, I'm guessing. So I mean, I think it could have went either way and been just as effective, but
Yeah,
But it seemed like it was. Oh, go ahead, Charles.
He says it before every challenge
Mhm.
from even past seasons. Right before each new challenge, when they're walking in, he says, "Come on in, guys!" Right before they announce what the competition is. So
Yeah.
that is like tradition.
I'm sure that he does, but my memory isn't that good. I wouldn't have remembered if he had the guys on or off. But I think what annoyed me with it is it seemed like he left it up into these 18 people's hands. And at first, everyone was like, oh, we don't care. Say we aren't offended. And then Ricard came back and was like, no, wait, I thought about it. I am offended. And so we have to talk about it again. That was a little bit like, okay, that's only what made me feel like, Jeff, someone had to address this with CBS. So just change it. And like you said, put a statement out later. But I don't know. I don't want to deep dive into that because I want to be respectful, and I do understand why he changed it. It just was like, okay, we could have had more of something else. Then I like natural conversations, not let's bring up something to discuss. I like it if something naturally would have came out
Mm-hmm.
and it would have just happened within the tribe or something like that.
Mhm.
But that was my 2 cents on that, because I definitely want to deep dive into the episode. Anybody want to address anything else with that?
Not really, but I get what you're saying. It did feel kind of like performative. Like, okay, we have our angles. Okay, so this is going to be that section. Okay, the lighting is right. Action. Talk about it.
Right.
Mhm.
Okay. Well, let's move on with that, because like I said, I don't have a problem either way. It's time to start the game. And the first thing you have to do is understand the rules. This is Survivor 41, but go ahead and drop that for it. And this is Survivor 1. It's a brand new game, baby. Let's get into it. I am so shocked they don't get any rice. Like, I can't get over that. I'm like, these people are going to starve to death. They have to earn their food. You get a punishment for losing. You don't just get to be a loser and vote somebody out. You also have to have a punishment on top of that. And then I do like this: 2 tribal councils. It's no 2 teams win. You either win and then the other 2 teams have to vote somebody out. I like that. And then it's some kind of dice you can put in a jar and pull a ticket for safety or not. I don't really understand that, rolling the dice, pulling the ticket, but I like all the twists and the turns of the game. What do you all think about this new fast paced challenge? Oh, and there's hidden advantages, but if you take an advantage, there's a disadvantage for taking the advantage. Like, I like all the twists and turns. What do you all think about the new rules of the game?
I think it. I don't know if I like the rice, not getting rice, or getting something taken away for just losing. Like, you're just playing the game. I think they are going a little bit too above and beyond, because they're like, there's only 26 days. We took out a whole 13 days. People are going to say that this is not hard enough, and they're getting an easy ride if we give them a sack of rice. And it's like, I don't think you need to go that far. I do like the advantages with disadvantages, though, because it's kind of like a monkey paw situation where if you take something, there's going to have to be repercussions. And I do enjoy that aspect of the game, or the extra stuff that they have to do with having to do the water thing to get all the supplies for their tribe because they didn't win the first one. I like that they have an extra opportunity, something extra to do during that moment. So there are things that I like. There's some things that I don't like. I don't know if I'm a huge fan of the die just yet, but we'll see how that all plays out.
Yeah,
Charles?
I completely have no clue what that the drop the dice and get the paper thing. I had that went over my head. Maybe it wasn't explained well, but I just didn't get it.
I don't understand why they have to be die. Like, why does it have to be a dice or anything? Like, just because it's 1 in 6 shot, like, just have it a token or something. I don't know. Sorry.
Yeah. The no food. I don't know. To be honest, I know that could like really trigger people. It could being hungry and angry, that could really make some good TV maybe. But whether or not we're going to actually see that, they might edit all that good stuff out, to be honest. This episode, what I was most shocked by was the fact that we didn't see any of the camp life. Because usually on the first episode of Survivor, it is heavy on the camp life, on them getting to know each
Shelter
other
building. Yeah.
and shelter building. We got maybe 4 minutes of that, and then it went to commercial or something. So
There was a lot of twists and turns this episode.
yeah, I don't know. The fact that they brought currency into the game the past couple seasons, I thought that was going to be the new thing. Like they used to give them tokens the past like last season or whatever, and that was supposed to be the new thing. Like, oh, we're gonna include currency into not Big Brother, Survivor season. And now they just completely took the currency out of the game. I was like, I would rather see currency. I would rather see trading of tokens and trying to that versus, oh, every episode, let's read something. Okay, take 12 coconuts down the shore. Okay. I feel like that's going to get old after a while.
I agree. But you have to remember, Jeff said nothing old. This is new. They're not bringing anything from the past back this season. And I agree. The main thing about the new rules, I feel like it's so unfair not to give these people food and then to take their flint away for losing the challenge. So now you're messing with their food and their water. So
the double eliminations, do y'all like that? I don't know.
I love it. I love it.
I think I like it when it's like the first one and it's something completely like out of left field. But if we're going to expect it up until merge, I think that's going to get a little bit boring. And one tribe can just keep on winning.
And that was the T too. The T is that this season will be the first season there's no merge. They are supposedly going to keep 3 tribes throughout the entire season.
I can't see that being effective. You have to merge.
I don't know.
So that's confusing because you're relying on talking to people from other tribes the way that Xander, JD, and Danny did. But if you're not willing to get on the raft and risk that, then you're not going to have that talk. But if you keep on going on the raft, you might be voted out because you keep on taking advantage of going on the raft. So
right, and I think they
hope they don't have that raft every episode.
Yeah,
like that doesn't have to be an every episode thing as well. So challenges, I guess, is challenge number 1 for the flint. Find your oars to your boat, and you can look wherever you want. throw them in the water, dive in, whoever paddles around the buoy and back wins. This was hilarious to me just because of how the green team won. And I'm going to say now I can't remember the team name, so it's going to be colors from me. But the way the green team won that was hilarious to me because the blue team is paddling their life away and they don't realize my anchor is still on. And then the yellow team, for the life of them, can't find their 6-4. So, what you all think about challenge number 1?
It was fine. I mean, I was seeing if Charles wanted to go. I mean, it was fine. I think it was funny to see the blue team just like completely like be unhinged and can't figure out that they're clipped in. I could see it from when they did the aerial view. I was like, I think they're still clipped in, and of course they were. Yellow team, I won't fault them too hard. I mean, they should have. I think that ore was hidden and very far away from them, but they should have looked in every single part of the boat. They were like going up in Jeff's like crow's nest, and he was like, "There's nothing in here. Just leave." So it was just weird.
Yeah, I feel like that just felt like the beginning of the show because they do that all the time.
It
like,
was
grab what you can and get off the boat. But
I was expecting for there to be some kind of, you know, how there's someone to find a secret note amongst the oars or something. I was expecting to see that, but I guess we shouldn't expect anything from past seasons to be this season. But I just thought challenge number 1 was hilarious to me. I could not believe, like, no one, like, they were just paddling, and no one stopped to say, but why aren't we moving? Like, it was hilarious to me. But I do agree with that comment. This episode was long. It could have been a lot more exciting. It was just a kind of get to know some of the players type of episode, but I was here for all of it. So the green team wins a flint, a machete, and a pot. That's all the supplies they're going to get this season, and I guess some coconuts. The blue and the yellow team have to earn their supplies. So now there's another challenge back at camp for the blue and the yellow team. You either have to count triangles. What we've all seen them on Facebook, Instagram. We've seen those little square triangle things. Or you could do good old sweat equity of running back and forth to the beach with water in a pot. Which challenge would you all have chosen?
none of them.
You had to choose one, or you're not going to get supplies.
I would have let the group choose a challenge, and I would have stayed with the group.
I would have, yeah. First of all, if you're advocating for any of them, you're advocating to stay with the group, not do them. Like
Right.
the two people doing it was like, okay, that's a death sentence kind of thing. I would have wanted to do the triangles. One, because more people, more eyes could have been on it. You're doing it as a group, and it's not labor intensive. Yes, it's the idea of like putting your mind to it, but 4 hours of having two people go back and forth when you have no food, nothing, and that's two people that aren't doing anything to help out the camp or anything. Like, I felt that triangle one could have been a lot shorter than 4 hours, and even in the 4 hours, Danny and Deshaun was able to look for idols for however long they wanted, and then we're like, oh, okay, yeah, we gotta get back to this water thing.
Yeah, it looked like if you picked the water, you were going to get it regardless. You had 4 hours was plenty of time for the water. I think the thing about the triangles is you only got one guess, and if you got it wrong, you got nothing. So people were going for the for sure shot. I would the math person within me would have wanted to do the triangles because I'm always guessing that stuff on Facebook and Instagram anyway. And I felt like you could have done that in 30 minutes. And if everybody came up with the same number, bam, that's it. Let's be done. So I agree. I do agree with the point of not wanting to be the two people separated from the tribe. We saw that Nasir snitched when he saw, God, I remember all the names, Danny and Deshaun looking for idols. And we saw Boche, which is David, he didn't feel too good about being voluntold by Xander he was going to do the water with him. And I thought that was hilarious. So,
yeah, this. It was just weird. It was weird to see half the people doing one thing and then two people doing another thing. Xander seems overzealous to do everything, which could bite him in the butt later. He's already the youngest. We see how that's going forward with JD. And I just think with Xander always continuously putting himself out there, it could come back to really slap him in the face.
I feel the same way about Danny.
Mm-hmm.
Every time Danny had an opportunity to either go do something fun or play the strategic route with the group, he chose something fun on his own. And that's not how you play Survivor. Like, him spending so much time away from the group, if they would have lost that final challenge, he would have probably been going home. So
Xander, I don't think they would have put
Danny.
Oh, Dan, no. We'll get to that because I don't think you're gonna clearly put out the strongest person of the whole season. You're gonna vote them out episode 1. I don't think so.
I think the one thing is, we'll get into it, but I think with Nasir bringing up that they're looking for idols, I think you're day one, you're already disturbing the peace. You're already trying to rock the boat so early, and it doesn't sit well with people, especially with how Danny and Deshaun come off, where they're like more personable, it seems, and everybody seems to like be more with them. I think that they come off more on the tribe than, say, Nasir, who's like, oh, they're looking for idols. We need to vote one of them out. Like, we're less than 4 hours into this tribe and he's already like bringing up stuff.
Yeah,
I agree. So let's talk about the snitches really quick because there were a few. We already talked about Nasir snitching about Deshaun and Danny Final Idol. I did like how Sydney, she snitched and told them what Nasir said, but I appreciate Sydney for snitching. Did Deshaun and Danny deny? Like, didn't they say, oh, Nasir was lying?
she only told Deshaun, I think.
Well, Deshaun, I believe he denied it, which I appreciated him for denying. But another person who was one of my star players, Liana, my Illinois friend, she went and told Tiffany when Abraham, I got to rename, it's Eric, but he wants to be called Abraham, was like he wants to get Tiffany out because Tiffany jumped in the water before we found our sixth oar. And so Liana went and told Tiffany that, and I thought there would be some cookout love. Like, she would just kind of take what is his name? Abraham said and kind of leave it in the back of her mind. But she went and snitched and told Tiffany. What do you think about that?
I could see where everybody was going with that strategy of, wasn't it Liana and Evie who was the ones that were really pushing to keep Tiffany? And I think they were worried. I think Evie was more worried that if Tiffany goes this time and they go back to tribal, that she would be next. So I almost think that she wanted to keep I don't want to say go, but keep somebody that's under her in the hierarchy while she makes more strategic and social standings. And then you knock out Abraham, who seems to be wanting to be the one that stands up and is in charge and says, I want this. We should go with this, especially seeing how Xander is like, I don't know, kind of like just going with whoever says something last to him. It seems like he just goes with the flow.
Yeah, she didn't. Evie just doesn't want the trend to be get rid of the women, because then she would be on that list clearly. So,
I agree, but I'm going to talk some more about Evie when we get to the Yellow Team's Tribal Council and their vote. I think it's a little bit more than just that. So up next, like you said, we don't get to really know people in their camp life. Up comes a speedboat to every camp. One person get in. We don't care who it is. Jump in the boat. Now, what I found funny was The blue team, no one wanted to get in the boat. They wanted to go to rock, paper, scissors for who would get in the boat. And Danny was just like, forget it, I'll go. Like Charles said, Danny wants to do everything. On the yellow team, nobody wanted to go, but Xander ups and volunteers and said, well, I guess I'll go. And everyone's like, yes, Xander, we trust you, so you go, because we don't think you'll lie. And then on the green team, everybody wanted to go. And they had to do rock, paper, scissors to see who could actually get the privilege of going. And that ended up being JD. That was crazy. But what was even crazier is these people have no food, no water, or whatever. I'm thinking they're going to this island to do something exciting, but they just trek up a mountain, talk about, are you a football player? Are you a track star? And then trek back down and get an advantage. I thought that was complete waste of excitement on episode 1. What did you all think about the little boat adventure?
Charles?
Yeah, I don't think that was an episode 1 worthy like climax. I would think by that point of the episode, there needed to be something so risky and something that they would actually have to do, maybe a game or, something, just something that we could see after the commercial break, not just them walking away from it. But yeah, I would definitely not have chosen to go on that boat.
Never. I would have never volunteered for it, and I would have never even, I would have kind of pretended like I was going to rock, paper, scissors, and at the end kind of just drop my hand and do nothing and see who wins it. I would not want to go on that boat. It should have been for a reward. Like, if I'm going to risk my game, it should be more than just a vote. Like, let me have the decision to bring my tribe something to eat, which would gain me favor with my tribe. Let me be selfish and get an idol or extra vote or something like that. And then let me go back to the tribe and lie about it. Like, it was kind of, I didn't like the flip of the steering wheel thing for a vote or no vote.
Yeah,
What did you think, Drew?
I thought the whole trek up the mountain was just to get them to talk, but they could have done that in a different way, or they could have had it in a different way. And I was on what you were thinking, which was going to be picking between something selfish for your solo game to get an advantage or something for the tribe. And then when they come back, they would have to come up with some story if they took the solo advantage. But just to get, and I get where they were going for, but to me, it wasn't exciting or anything fun to watch them.
Right. The fact that it was so lame that everybody basically, they were all able to tell the truth basically on what was offered because it really didn't matter that much.
Yeah, no.
It didn't. Who do you think told the best story when they got back to the camp? Who do you think explained it the best?
Not JD.
Well, Danny literally just broke it down step by step. And I guess they feel like Danny is the most trustworthy, but yeah. So Danny, I guess I would say.
I would say Xander seemed to be very forthcoming. He even said that he took the thing. He was very upfront with that. And so the whole tribe was like, oh yeah, we can use that to our advantage. And later on, good job, Xander, kind of thing. That brings up a good point with the story. They didn't need to lie all that much or come up with anything. Like, all they had to lie about was, I did protect my vote, so I didn't get an extra vote or whatever. Like, that's all they had to lie about. And they would have been none the wiser because everything else seems rock solid. I mean, if it was something different that they really had to lie about and put their game on the line, I think it would have been a lot more interesting.
Right. Something that could really screw their team.
Yeah.
I think JD was more nervous because he was trying to tell the truth but lie about the risk of the vote. Because until we saw Tribal Council, I really thought JD protected his vote. And I was like, oh, that's why he was kind of shaky, because he didn't want people to think he risked his vote. So I agree. I think Danny told the best story. That was it about the boat trip. Let's get into the immunity challenge. It was a good old-fashioned great episode 1 immunity challenge. Everything we want to see over on the over on the challenge. Survivor gave it to us. I don't forgot everything. I know they had to carry a whole bunch of sandbags, a roller coaster track, a puzzle, pulling it up a mountain. Like everything was so physical. And this is a side note, like how did David do all this stuff with no food? He already had to go back and forth on the beach. Then he had to climb a mountain. And then he had to put the blue team's track roller skating rink, whatever that thing was, roller coaster on his back and pull it up. Like he is a physical beast.
You talking about Danny?
Yeah.
Danny, David,
Yeah.
the football player.
Danny.
Okay, him.
Well, all this happened on day one. So, he may have had a large meal yesterday, and, I'm sure he's used to doing boot camps. When you're a collegiate football
That's a
player,
lot.
professional,
Yeah.
you're used to it. So
Mhm.
this is just day one. We haven't seen him when he's hungry. We haven't seen him 2 weeks in the game yet with no food. So we don't really know. I can't even say he's a hard. No, we don't know that. This is day one stuff. So
I thought it when he got in the boat. I was like, man, he just ran up and down the beach for 4 hours. Now he has to go climb a mountain. And now he has to go do a immunity challenge. I thought it was a lot.
Yeah. It was a lot. I mean, just anybody. I mean, I don't do all that much work in my own house when I'm just doing videos or something, and I get hungry every 2 hours, it feels like. So, I mean, them doing all that work and then carrying sandbags, carrying a giant trolley, carrying it uphill, and then having the wherewithal to put together a puzzle. I mean, hats off to them if they're not even getting any rice. I mean, it's ridiculous what they're putting their bodies through.
What they're putting their bodies through. And the blue team seemed like they had a lead, but then Jeff was like, you dropped the start over. So the blue team had to start over. The green team had a massive lead, but then I guess it was Chantel and Sarah forgot a couple of puzzle pieces in the bag, and so they let the blue team catch up. And then I felt like the yellow team was dead from the roller coaster ramp. Like it seemed like they used all their strength getting that cart up the ramp. So the blue team pulled off a victory. What did you think about the blue team's victory? I thought it was amazing.
This is why we watch Survivor. I mean, it was a really gripping challenge that was very challenging. And then when it's the best equalizer are these puzzles. And that puzzle was awesome. And it was fun to see somebody come from behind, because I don't know how many times I've watched Survivor where they're doing a puzzle, somebody seems to be far out ahead, and then all of a sudden they lose steam and somebody else is just coming from behind, adrenaline takes over, and they just completely just dominate it in the final seconds and can jump and leapfrog over people. I mean, it was a really, really fun to watch because it was so unpredictable.
It was.
I agree.
And I was here for the blue team winning because the blue team right now has some of my favorite people. And I believe we spoke about this earlier. There's only one immunity. It's not an idol statue. What do they call the statue thing? It's not an immunity god, is it? What is it called?
I think it's like an idol.
Well, only one immunity idol per tribe. No second place this season. Second place is the first loser. Both teams are going to tribal council. I loved it, and I was really excited that the blue team got to stay. So now we get a little bit of camp life. Let's talk about what was going on in the camps. I feel like because the blue team won the challenge, we did not get a lot of blue team camp life, so I really don't have any notes on what was going on at the blue team's camp. Does anyone have anything that they can remember about the blue team's camp they want to bring up before we get into the two teams that had to vote somebody out?
I just remember Sydney trying to catch a crab and it didn't work. Like that's all I remember. Besides the whole idol finding trek that was being spoken about, I can't think of anything else.
And I was also wondering, we had a 2-hour episode. Why didn't they give them a reward challenge for like a peanut butter jelly sandwich or something? I don't know. Call it the big girl in me. I don't know. Them sitting up here with no food is bothering me. I'm like, what are these people gonna eat?
You still talk about that food.
I'm like, they just gonna starve these people. But okay, let's move on past the food. let's get into I want to talk about, let's leave the live tribal council for last. Let's go to the yellow team's camp life first. I'm side-eyeing the yellow team, and let me tell you why. Evie, I understand Evie's theory of, if we vote out Tiffany, I could be the next girl. But you didn't watch my cast assessment, Drew. I'm already side-eyeing Tiffany as a Karen. So it's something about Tiffany, that whole code switching comment. I can't get over Tiffany. And so Evie teaming up with Tiffany is telling me, okay, we get rid of Abraham, which in my cast assessment, I said Abraham is going to be controlling and not know how to talk to people. So I can understand him being the first boot. But when you're on a 6-person tribe, do you really want controlling? I mean, do you really want Tiffany over strength? Like, do you want to just be back at tribal council again next week? Because Abraham was at the top of the mountain doing his best pulling up that cart. Tiffany can't do it. I don't understand why they would vote out a strong person.
I mean, I think this was purely for the solo portion of this game rather than the strength of the tribe. That's all I can think of it. I think that's why Evie pushed for Tiffany to stay. Liana went with it, and then Xander just goes with whoever is feeling stronger than the other person. So I was surprised that it was so lopsided in the vote, though. Wasn't it like Abraham was the clear vote, and then Tiffany had one vote? So I was surprised that it was so lopsided.
What did you think, Charles?
We did in the cast assessment talk about how that Southern black male stern thing that we sniffed out about Abraham at the very, very beginning was going to come out. The fact that he was on a tribe that was not the Cookout was not good for his game sense. You know what I mean? So he kind of was dead on arrival, to be honest.
He did it to himself. He didn't know how to talk to people. Like, even in tribal council, he was slick talking about, yeah, but we don't care about what you're talking about. Let's get to the vote. And then when it came out, he went, oh, you slick talked and got blindsided. But my thing is that I see with Tiffany and Evie is when they go back to tribal council next week, because I don't see them winning anything. When they go back to tribal council, they aren't going to say, okay, well, we saved Tiffany for 1 week. Liana is going to be gone next. Evie is not going to let Tiffany go.
Who's on their tribe? Remind me.
Evie, Tiffany, and Liana are the women. Then you had Abraham, Xander, and David. And David seemed like he was the only one pulling for, like, wait, why are we getting rid of Abraham? Why are we getting rid of our strength?
That's funny, because on our cast assessment, David was my first boot. I always expected David to go first. And to me, he gives first boot energy. Like, the way David, the surgeon guy, acts, he should be going home next. It's just that Abraham's, like, alpha...
He was more vocal. Yeah.
Yeah, that kind of overpowered that. But now that that's gone, I think if they lose again, David is gone. David is the clear next sweep out the way for that team.
I'd agree with that. I would agree with that assessment. I don't think David's making all the connections. I almost get this vibe of, like, from the Yellow Tribe, I almost get the vibe that it's who's ever smarter, and they want to get out the other smart people, because Abraham was like a computer analytical. Evie has the whole, like, I do this for a living. I have a graduate, and I whatever can survive. And so that's what I do. So I'm just trying to survive here and be the ultimate survivor. And then David is like a surgeon. So it's almost like who can outsmart the other one, and they want to take each other out into until one smart person is, quote unquote, one smart person is left. But I just think that it's their cerebral is getting in the way of actually playing this game instead of anything else. But I do agree that David, I think, should be the next boot if they go back or when they go back to tribal council. And then that's when they may unload Tiffany to keep Xander. But we'll see.
We'll see.
Yeah, I do. I see the Liana. I think Liana and Evie, they might go far in this game together. I could see them two trying to stick it out, Bonnie and Clyde type deal. But eventually, I think Liana will go home.
I don't know. I see if the yellow team, and I just get a feeling that if the yellow team goes to tribal council again next week, they lose the challenge, they're going to send Liana home. They aren't going to send home another male and be down one guy and three girls. And I see Evie and Tiffany like this. She wants to keep Tiffany. I think Evie will drop.
A guy home? What's your reasoning for that?
Who's going to pull the cart up the mountain? Who's going to do the physical stuff? By himself?
That's what they're going to think. They're going to say, oh, Xander is here. We can do it too. They're not going to see themselves as weak women. They're going to just see themselves Danny, as numbers.
Deshawn, and all the other guys. You can't go down to one guy when there's a Danny and a Deshawn and whoever else is on the blue tribe.
But they were already screwed from the beginning because David is not he's not physical. Abraham was not. He was, but he's older. Abraham is an older man. I think Xander really was like their guy.
I agree with Charles in the fact that every single challenge from here on out, everyone's going to have to sit out people, because to make everything even. So with everyone having to sit out, they're going to look at each other as numbers. Tiffany owes Evie and Liana something because they were the ones that were pushing Abraham and to keep Tiffany, and they got the numbers. So Tiffany will vote however they vote. They're going to get rid of whoever they can't seem to control or don't want to move farther into the game with next. It doesn't matter if they go to tribal counselors or not. They are feeling good because they have the numbers. So I agree that they would take another shot at, say, David, and then maybe switch it up and take Xander, because then if they're a tribe of three, maybe they have a great shot at winning with only 3 members. Those 3 members then having 4 members with Tiffany, or 5 members or 4 members with David.
Yeah, the final 3 in that group are definitely Liana, Evie, and Xander for sure.
Okay, but if I'm on the blue tribe, I'm never sitting out Danny, so you still losing.
Oh, Danny doesn't want to sit out. He'll do anything. He's
right.
ready and willing to go.
I don't know. I felt like as much as I can see them not liking Abraham, I would have kept him. But let's jump over to the more exciting tribal council. Like, this was way too much for week 1. And I definitely want to talk to you guys about it because I don't understand how the votes shook out. But let's jump into it. The green team. Let's just start off with the characters. We have Ricard, who I think is extremely handsome, but it's something about him. He's very shady. For some reason, JD did something to him, and he wants JD out. He can't see anything but JD getting out. It could be a little hateration. I don't know. Sarah, in my cast assessment, I already said Sarah was the first boot. Chantel, I love, but people are looking at Chantel because she screwed up the puzzle, her and Sarah. Brad is the old school player that I love. Like, the way he just said, when they asked him, who should you vote out? And he was like, hey, it could be Sarah or Chantel. And the way he said it right to their face, old school gameplay that I love. Terrible gameplay, but I loved it. And then who else is on the green team? Of course, JD.
The store clerk.
The one who's just excited to be there. He wants to do everything. And Jeannie, who I'm surprised was not the first boot. So let's get into their tribal council, or let's just start at camp life. Ricard wants JD, and he's around camp. JD, JD, JD to everybody. And then here comes Brad, like, wait, why are we going to get rid of JD? Which is what I thought the yellow team should have said about Abraham, but we're not going back there. So here comes Brad saying, wait, if I'm going to vote, I'm voting out her or her. What did you all think about just the way they were speaking at camp? It was...
As the game progresses, he'll be able to settle down a little bit and find his niche in the game. I think after the first tribal council and knowing he was on the block and it was like 1 or 2 votes that could have done him in, and if it wasn't for Brad and Chantel like really looking out for him, that I think he will settle into the game a little bit more. But they were just so fascinating. I love the editing on Survivor all the time, and they just did a bang up job, especially with this tribal and leaving it for last because they were whispering throughout tribal council. The yellow tribal council was just dead silent. They don't care. They're just going to vote. But the green tribe that was where it was at.
Yeah, what did you think about Brad calling the girls out to their face?
Well, Brad is a more recent watcher of the show. He only saw like 1 or 2 seasons, and the seasons that he watched were the really old ones that Ozzy were on. So he's green. He's kind of green to the game. Like he's like, well, if we're being honest, you 2 ladies did the worst. I don't think he really thought too much about that. And to be honest, I don't hate it.
I didn't hate it at all either. I loved it. I just was like, we haven't seen that in so long, and I just love the honesty of it. Okay, let's jump over.
He should have worded it differently, though. That's where the finesse should have happened, because when he was asked, like, who do you think? I would have been like, I don't know. You always say you don't know. You don't ever give names. You never give names. But then you could have turned it to them like, oh, but people are talking about y'all too. So what's going on here? That's how you could have brought them up.
Yeah.
That's a very good point. You always say I don't know, and then you bring up like the people that you do want to put out there, but you do it in like a way of like, well, we could go by the performance and we could do the puzzle. Like you and Jeannie did the puzzle and everybody else was pitching in to pull it up kind of thing. Like, yeah, it could have been such a different way, but him just being like, it could be them 2. Like, I don't care. Let's go.
I loved it. Let's switch over to tribal council because that's where the excitement really was. JD was talking about something with Jeff, having a little conversation. I don't even know what JD was talking about. And then we see the whispers between Chantel, Sarah, and Ricard. And they're like, should we do it? Should we do it? Should we do it? And then next thing you know, Ricard is like, let's just vote out Brad. And I'm like, where did that come from? Like, I don't understand. Let me just give the whole scenario, then we can break it down. Where did Brad come from? So now Brad is like, what's going on? I thought it was Sarah all day. What are we doing? And so then JD goes over to Chantel and it's like, what is the whispering about? And she's like, we're going to do Brad. And he's like, no, why would we do Brad? So now I'm like, when did Brad even come on the table? But let's just fast forward a little bit. We get to the vote. Jeannie votes for Ricard. And I don't understand that vote at all. And then Ricard voted for Sarah, which makes me think the vote was always going to be Sarah, which makes me further wonder, why would he bring up Brad? Like, I don't know what they were doing on the green team. I need your thoughts because I need the understanding.
I don't know where Brad came from. Maybe editing magic was there. I wonder if Jeannie decided to go Ricard because if somebody used their die and was safe and it was all one person, then that one person would have had all the power to just be like, oh, that's one vote. I'm safe for the night. Oh, they can't vote anyway. So it's like, what would have happened if they wouldn't been able to vote. So I don't know where all that came from, because I thought it was going to be Brad. I thought it was going to be Sarah. I thought it was going to be a split down the middle at first with Sarah and JD. Then it turned to Brad. Then it turned completely on Sarah. Yeah, I don't know. She was even talking about using her die in the beginning, and I was like, well, you dumb. If you're going to use it on episode 1, you got a long way to go, and she should have used it. So maybe I'm the dumb one.
Yeah, so like you said, at the beginning, it was 3 versus 3, 3v3. But this is where Jeff's questioning can sway the game, which is kind of annoying, because he even says, like, sometimes he asks them questions for maybe 5 minutes, but sometimes they'll sit there for a whole 45 minutes to an hour asking questions for the camera, try to get stuff rolling. And I feel like him talking so much to JD kind of forced the other 3 to publicly say they would work with JD. And I think that's when Ricard came over to JD and was like, well, if it's not going to be you, let's do Brad, basically. But Ricard's vote for Sarah makes sense, I think, because after JD and what's her name, Chantel, get face to face, and they're like, "Oh my gosh, do not screw me. Are we in this? Like, I will do whatever you want." They decide that they're going to do Sarah, and I think Miss Chantel eventually whispers. She has to eventually whispers to Ricard that we're outnumbered. It's going to be Sarah. Yeah. I don't think they put that on camera for editing, but he had to get that information from Chantel, because otherwise he would have just voted for JD.
He would have voted for JD. But didn't JD have a vote?
Yeah.
Probably Sarah.
Yeah, he had 2 votes actually, but he kept one in his pocket. But
no, I mean, didn't someone vote for JD?
Sarah?
Maybe Sarah, yeah.
Yes, Sarah voted for JD. Jeannie voted for Ricard, and everybody else voted for Sarah.
Yeah.
I'm scared for the green team, because right here it's messy. It was messy in a good way. I was excited. I was amped because I didn't know what was going on. But when the votes were read, I was like, yeah, this is messy. They have to somehow come together, because Ricard is not going to be happy that somebody voted for him. Brad is not going to be happy that his name was thrown out there in tribal council. Like, they're going to be the team to watch.
The best cast members are on this team.
Yeah.
Yes.
So it's like either CBS or whatever, they didn't split these teams up evenly, because this is literally the only team that people really want to see. Like, yellow, they can go home.
I totally agree. Well, I like the blue team. We didn't get a fair opportunity to see what the blue team would do because they won. So I do like the blue team, but the green team is the team I want to watch. Like, I want to know what's going on at Camp Life, first thing on Wednesday.
Chantel was in the perfect position. I mean, she was a swing vote. She even had Jeannie on her side going like, we got this in the bag. Like, whatever we want to do, we can do it, because you had Sarah and Ricard wanting to go JD and Brad wanted to do something else, and Chantel's in the middle. And she was like, I pretty much hold all the cards. It's who you feel like you gelled with the most at this point and who you can see working with you. And once JD, I think she clicked with JD already, but once he was like, I'll do whatever you want, it was over. Like, she was like, all right, I got it. Like, we're done. Like, it was really awesome to see. And then she had to make a decision early, and there's no way she's not in the best position in this tribe moving forward.
To me, she's the Evie of this tribe. Who let's talk about it like we did that tribe. Going like dominoes, who's next for you to go, and who's the final 3 in this tribe?
If we're talking Me, or I think will happen, because if it
No, we
was
need
me,
not you, not your
okay,
faves. We need what's gonna happen on the show.
I think Ricard is next to go because he's messy. He keeps up too much mess. Throwing Brad's name out there was extremely messy. And then I
Hmm.
think the final three will be JD, Chantel. I kind of think Jeannie gets cut before Brad because they're going to keep strength. So
Yeah,
Chantel, JD, and Brad.
I think Chantel and JD for sure, and then they get to choose between Jeannie and Brad for their third person, because
Yeah.
those four to me are going to vote out Ricard next. He's gone
Yes, he's gone.
because he
He
was
was,
Sarah's person.
yeah, he was doing a
Unless they
lot.
win.
He was doing a lot this episode with throwing out JD's name, trying to get the heat on him, and then also then putting putting heat on Brad. So it's like you're burning two other people that may not want to work with you next episode because you're already throwing their names out on the first tribal council. You're doing too much, man. Like I think that was a bad position, and Chantel has all the tea from the whole tribe because she was in every single conversation.
Mm-hmm.
So I do think it's going to be, I think it would be maybe Brad that would be the three, but it's definitely going to be Chantel and JD. Like they're going to be thick as thieves, and JD would never ever turn on her after this first tribal.
Yeah, and I don't see Brad. I don't see Brad. I don't see Brad or Chantel voting out JD.
Right.
So, to be honest, the only two people that could really go next are Ricard and Jeannie. If Ricard somehow really plays his game well next episode and apologizes to Chantel and gets in good, maybe he can convince them to get rid of Jeannie. Maybe. If she sucks at the next competition.
I think he has too much ego to ever apologize. He'll just probably be like, "You guys really want to get rid of me?" For like, he might play up the strength thing, but I don't see him
Mm-hmm.
apologizing at all. He might still be gunning for JD next week. We don't know. Um,
Okay,
the
what
green
about the
team
blue
is the one
team?
to watch.
We
Okay,
didn't talk
let's
about
jump
the
into
blue
the blue
team.
team. We
Who's
didn't talk
going
about the
home?
blue
What
team
order?
because they won, but that's a
Mm-hmm.
good question. Who do you think would have been voted out for the blue team? Let me put my thinking cap on. Oh, I already know. Nasir would have went home because he snitched.
Yeah. I could
So we got
see him going home
Sydney.
first.
Who's on that team? Sydney, Nasir, Erica, Deshawn, Danny.
Oh,
Is
Erica,
that
I
it?
forgot about her. Yeah, Erica is there. Erica could be a first boot too. She was on my first boot list on the cast assessment, but I like Erica is someone who I liked after watching
And
her
Heather.
play.
Heather on the blue
I already
team?
like Heather. Heather's on the blue team. I think Nasir will go home first, and then if it comes down to it, maybe Heather. Even though I want Heather to stay, I really like her.
But who are
And
the
then
clicks on that team? I didn't notice any like clicks on that team.
Yeah,
I
we
feel
didn't get
like
a whole
yeah,
lot from
we didn't get
them.
to see. All we got was a little bit of snitching. But I would think since Sydney gave a heads up to Deshawn that at least Sydney and Deshawn would work together
and Deshaun and Danny are cool from doing the water thing
from doing the
together.
water.
Yeah. And we get, if we're looking at just pure camera time, Sydney got good amount of camera time. So I would think that they're investing a little bit more time in her
Mm-hmm.
as early on in this game to maybe she goes a little bit further or decently in this game, at least
She's
on the tribe.
Yeah, she's the prettiest one, so I think they're trying to they're trying to hope she becomes Parvati or something.
I like I like Sydney. She's one of my favorite players from the pregame
Me
videos.
too. I think Sydney's gonna go very, very far. Probably she might win. Shoot,
Hmm.
I don't know.
I want to see a merge. I don't know about you all, but I can't have all these characters on three tribes forever. I have to see them all come together and see what they would do in a merge. Like I don't know where you got that tea from, Charles. I'm gonna have to Google it after we finish this to see if it's
It's not
true.
gonna be no T. That's gonna be on Google. It's not gonna be Google T. But I don't know how they're going to keep because that's the thing. If they're going to keep the 3, I don't how after how many episodes are y'all going to keep shuffling the
Right.
deck?
Because eventually
Because
you're gonna get down to 6. So it's 2-2-2, and then you have to merge. I don't know where you heard that from, but I'm gonna say that was fake
it's
news.
but how do
I
they get
don't
okay? They started with how many? 16?
18.
No, 18.
Yeah,
18.
18. 3 tribes
So
of
then
6.
so then the next shuffle makes sense at 12. So 4, 4, and 4, maybe.
I can see a
Yeah.
shuffle at 12, but eventually, like at 9, you have to merge. Everyone has to come together at some point. Because if you say, how can you vote for somebody? Like, you have to go to jury. How can you vote for someone in a game if you never played with them? You could be like, I don't even know who that is. I don't know what he's done. Like, you have to merge.
So when are we merging? Since we eliminating 2 people every episode, and there's gonna stay 3 teams. At what point?
At 9 or 10.
8.
But like you said, what if there's a team like Yellow? What if they keep losing and there's 2 people on that green team?
Yeah, that's what I
I
was
think the yellow
wondering.
team keeps losing.
That's what I was wondering too. It's like if we're not going to have a merge, but we're going to have multiple tribes, what happens when we get down to like 2 tribes of 2? And there's only 2 people on there. Like, are we just drawing rocks? All right, this is going to be whoever's going to final tribal
How you gonna
council.
vote?
There'll be 2 people, and they're just going to be rocks because you can't vote
Oh
for
my
yourself.
gosh.
Or fire.
What if they don't
Oh,
have?
yeah.
What if they don't have jury? What if? See, because when you just said that, that kind of makes sense. If we got 2 teams of 2 or 3 teams of 2, we can come into a situation where, like, okay, you are partners. This competition, only one group of 2 is going to the end. The other 4 people are eliminated, and then those 2 people battle it out, and the winner of the competition becomes the sole survivor.
Wow. So the whole game is based on fire.
Yeah. It comes to a fire making challenge with the final 2 people left on the last team of 2.
That would never work. That is what we look forward to in the finale. I want to see the jury roast these people with the questions and tell them, "No, you did this wrong. You did."
But we're not doing what we did the first 40 seasons.
I don't want to watch that.
That's true.
No one is gonna watch that. We love the final tribal council when we get to tell people about themselves for voting us out.
They said they're not doing what they did before. It's gonna be different.
They're gonna go
extremely piss me off.
They're gonna do endurance route where it's gonna be rock, paper, scissors, and you have to pick the right element 2 out of 3 times, and whoever does it wins. That would be terrible.
Or they might steal it from the challenge and drop them off the airplane and say, "You gotta run to this puzzle and you're the winner."
Don't ruin an amazing show after 20 years with that foolishness. No.
They said this is season 1. It's a new show. New brand.
It could be a new show, but you have to keep, like, if they did that, I wouldn't want to watch. Like, I watch faithfully to see that last tribal council. I want to see how you're going to stand up to the people that you voted out, that you backstabbed. I want to see you stand in it, and I want to see them roast you, and I want to see them vote.
I'll be honest.
Down to a win.
I'll be honest. I would think that would be awful too, but I almost think I could see Charles's idea of like just make it all competitions and have your social and political game just get you to the end, and then your survivor skills will have to win you the money.
Soul Survivor.
It would be.
It's gonna be like the challenge finale. It's gonna be. They might have 4 people. The last 2 teams of 2. They all individuals doing competitions to win the money.
Doing that rolling ball in that thing, and then you have to put more balls in it. And it's just like whoever drops it.
Yep.
And I love that. I love that challenge.
And then when you get to the end, you got to make a fire. I don't know.
That would be awful. I'm not gonna lie.
Be so anticlimactic, though.
It would be.
It would. We want the vote. And then we want to have another episode where it's a reunion where Jeff grills them all again for 2 hours before he even reads the final
But you
vote.
think
Like, I need that.
with Corona, I think they're trying to find ways to not keep bringing people back. Because if we have to keep bringing people back and testing them and stuff, you run the odds of somebody not being negative or something. And we can't have, if you have a final three like they always do, what if two of them people test positive for COVID? Now we can't even have them at the finale.
That's true. We're doing
It
what we
could be
did
a
in
Zoom
Winners at
finale
War.
for all I care.
Just a whole bunch of people in their Zoom calls.
Yeah, at home on FaceTime.
I don't know, but whatever Charles was talking
Jeff
about
in his
before the
garage.
finale, I don't want to see it.
We're gonna get the challenge finale.
I'm definitely about to get on Google. I can't imagine that happening, and I don't want to see that happen at all.
That would be pretty awful. I'm not gonna lie, that would be pretty awful. That would that would send shockwaves. People, I think, would be shocked on Twitter and everything, being like, "What just happened?" and you know what's the funny part? They filmed 2 seasons back to back in case like another hiatus were to come in or another pandemic thing. So we could have 2 seasons of that if they decided to go that route, and people would just lose their minds for 2 seasons.
There's no merge. There's no family visit. There's no jury.
There's definitely no family visit.
It's a new game.
I can understand the family visit, but me and Zuda are right here. Like, I need a merge and I need a jury on period. And if they don't have it, I'm definitely going to be disinterested, because that's what I look forward to the most, is when they all merge together and what can happen once you merge. And then I have to have a final tribal council. I have to have that.
Nah, they're gonna put them back in 3. They're gonna reshuffle them at 12.
Yeah.
They're gonna reshuffle them at 6. And we're gonna have 3 teams of 2. Partners.
What are you reshuffling at 6? It's 2
You might get
people.
to pick your partners. Pick your partner, and the only 2 teams make it to the finale, where we have final 4, and then they are individuals competing for $1 million in a series of obstacles and competitions, harder than ever before.
But that's not what Survivor is about. It's about outwit.
It's not what
outlast,
we did before.
Outplay. It don't matter. That's still on the sign. Outwit, outlast, outplay. It's nothing about get to the end and do an obstacle course. So I think you're wrong, Charles.
All those things go into that, though.
It doesn't. Because
yes,
say
you have
Heather
to
gets
outwit
to the end.
to get to the final.
Heather gets to the end with Danny. She outwitted everybody, and her and Danny are at the end. Heather is getting trashed by Danny in the final. So you outwitted. Like, if you aren't a comp beast, it doesn't make sense to get to the end if you can't run an obstacle course. That it
How
makes no
Danny,
sense.
You don't know Danny can do puzzles.
We just see
Danny can
we
do.
don't know if Heather can run up
player.
and down a mountain either.
You just like football players. That's why
we're not
like
bringing the challenge over to Survivor. That's why we love Survivor, because it's not the challenge. No, let the shows be separate.
Watch Jeff. He gonna say it with his whole chest. Even if y'all don't like it, this is my show, and this is Survivor #1.
And here's my Twitter handle. You can tweet me and I won't read it.
Right.
I did like when he said that. We'll see. All we can do is see. I don't want to see that.
Oh my gosh, how crazy would that be? That would have been, oh my gosh.
It's on the logo.
See,
outwit, outlast, outplay.
I will say that when Charles was saying it, it makes so much sense to outwit to get to that point. Now you get to outplay, and if you can outplay them, then you can outlast them and win it.
You're the sole survivor at the very end.
It's confirmed.
At the end of the day, don't cast no more 50-year-olds who are clearly out of shape, because they aren't going to win at the end if they outwit everybody.
Yeah, they aren't going to win. There will be puzzles. You are excluding the fact that there may be puzzles. There may be different things at the end. Just running is not the only thing. And just because she I seen some old ladies on the street running really long distances.
They
So,
could do like a Big Brother Final 2, Final 3 HOH competition where it's 3 different competitions about the game, different types. Like it's a puzzle, it's a one of those ball things, and it's a
carnival game.
competition. Yeah. You could do all 3.
Fire making challenge, the final 2 people or something. They're gonna
No.
sneak that in though. I don't think fire making is going away. They're gonna bring that. They're gonna bring that in there somehow.
They might have some fire making in there somehow, but
All on
Did
no
I
food.
Did I burst your bubble? I don't know.
no, I don't want to see that. Like, what's the point of blindsiding somebody if they can't come back and be like, bitch, I ain't voting for you? Like, I need to see that.
I think it's extreme, but I don't think it's out of the realm of possibilities, because the more Charles talks about it, the more it's like it makes sense. It's weird. It's weird that it's making sense to me. I'm nervous about it that it's making so much sense.
Yeah. This stuff I'm just making up. But the 3 teams, I'm not making that up. I heard that team that they're gonna keep 3 tribes. So I don't know. We'll see if it actually happens that way.
Well, that's another thing is, what if in Ponderosa somebody tests positive? Because they're having to eat there. If they're stayed in there, if there is a jury and they're staying in somewhere, what if one person develops it and is tested and test positive? Is that person just off jury? Do they still get to vote? They can't come in?
They have to isolate.
They tell Jeff they vote, and Jeff their question, and Jeff asking for them.
But for real, if we're gonna do it like we normally do it, what if one of the final 3 has COVID? Are they just not eligible to win now? I don't know.
Yeah, you could still win, but I don't know. This is a rabbit hole I can't wrap my mind around.
Yeah, we did go down a rabbit hole.
I don't care what Charles says. I don't want to see it. It's nothing he can say that will make me not want to see a final tribal council. Even if they don't merge. Say they want to do something crazy and not merge. Yeah. I have to see a final tribal council. Or I don't know.
Yeah, I'm not saying I want to see that happen. I'm just saying it was making some sense. I'm not advocating for it.
I'm not saying I want it, but I'm saying if we are really taking that token that they are paying millions of dollars to keep pushing in our face, that this is a brand new game. It is nothing like the first 40 seasons.
Let me see. What a comment at?
Everything
else is manageable, but we need something to be normal about Survivor, or we're not going to watch. Like, you can't take away the things people love the most. Because if that's the case, why not change tribal council around? Why not make people do some kind of elimination, like a challenge? Like, you got to go in there and fight. Like, you can't vote people out the whole season and then say, right, and then say, well, now you got to compete to win $1 million, but you've been voting all season. No, we need a final vote. That's what makes Survivor.
I'm not against a final competition. Let me go back. I don't want it to happen the exact way I said, but I'm not against having a final 4 or a final 3, and we literally have to outplay each other to win the game. I'm not against that.
What if it's like a Pearl Island situation where they all had to, the outcasts that were already voted out, they had to vote in 2 people, but they couldn't vote for themselves to represent that. So it's like, what if that's the vote? What if they're just there, the final 4, the final 5, they have to vote for somebody to win, but they can't vote for themselves.
They did that in the first 40, so I doubt they'll do that.
Oh, that's true. That is true. This is a whole different game.
Right.
Jeff gets the
brand.
Well,
Jeff gets
the pick. People out in tribal council in the first 40, right. And they doing it now too.
The gag. What if Jeff is RuPaul and he says the final decision is mine to make? You know how Drag Race, RuPaul picks who he wants to win. What if Jeff at the finale says, the winner, America's Drag Super Survivor, is, and he picks the person. Now that would gag. That would gag the world. Jeff's gonna pick his favorites. That's the least likely. I think competitions would happen more before that one.
Yeah, definitely. We went off the rails with this one. We were talking about episode 1. Now we're talking about the finale.
Well, we're done talking about episode 1. That's over.
Yeah, episode 1. It was a great episode. It was a lead-in episode. Like they said, get to know everyone. We saw a little bit of splash with the green team. I really like the green team, but I can't take any more of what Charles is saying.
It could have been 90 minutes, to be honest. We didn't need 2 hours.
It could have been an hour.
I really thought with 2 hours, I thought we were going to get 2 episodes, like episode 1 and episode 2 kind of thing, where we would have had 2 challenges and 2 tribal councils, not the way that we got it, but just to have one double. I just felt like, and to the point of Charles, he said we didn't get to meet everybody. We only got to meet a handful of selects that we got to actually get more into their backstory, which just leads me to believe that we're going to see more of them. But we didn't get to go into so many other people's backstories and really get to know them. I know more about JD than I know about anybody from the blue team.
Anybody else.
That's also why I hate the double eliminations. And also for like ranking reasons. I like a first boot. I like the fact that we can say, oh, this person went home 3rd. This person went home 5th. But now that it's 2 people every episode, you're just like, oh, I went on episode 3, but I was either 5th or 6th. We don't know. It's like, I don't like that.
Well, it's a brand new Survivor.
There was no first boot. Boom, boom, boom.
No, I don't mind that, but I think I text Charles and I was like, JD getting ready to go home because it was so JD heavy. I felt like this is his exit episode. And I was like, it's so too much JD, but
farewell.
I would like to get to know some more players, but
I'll be honest, I would have felt like I wasted an hour or majority of that episode if I got to know JD so much in the first 2 hours, more than anybody else on any other tribe, and just to have him leave at the end of the 2 hours, I've been like, well, who else am I supposed to be rooting for now? Or who do I know now? Like, I don't know anybody. I know Xander walked around and Danny was looking for idols. Like, I don't know anybody. I really legit can't remember anybody's occupation. I can't remember much of anybody's names. All I know is JD was talking about being bullied and he's excited to be here. And he talked about how he grew up as Carlton instead of Will Smith in Fresh Prince, and he can play the saxophone, I believe. Like, I know so much about JD.
A lot of his flashback pictures, like they showed a lot of his pictures, and I just found it so funny. I was like, oh, because he was like, I used to be. He was talking about high school, and I was like, oh, you were just in high school 2 years ago. He's just so young. Yeah. I just like him. But no, when he was talking about being a track star, like he was like, I went to state twice, and he was like, oh, but that was a while ago. I'm like, that was just 2 years ago.
I would have felt some type of way as a brown person if 2 brown men would have went home first. To me, that would have bothered me. If Abraham and JD went home first, I would have personally had an issue with that. I think I tweeted about it before it happened.
Maybe JD, but I called Abraham going home first on the cast assessment, so that wasn't a surprise to me. But someone is asking for a Big Brother spoiler. I don't know any. Zuda wants to know. Big Brother come on tonight. I haven't even watched it.
It says there's drama on the live. Oop. It says Big Brother drama on a live episode. Oop. I think
there was a live episode tonight. Oh, it's Thursday. Yeah.
Let me go to my source and tell you what happened tonight.
Yeah, because I kind of want to know what's going on with
Oh, Zuda saying, do we want to know the spoiler because he's watching it?
Oh, Kylan went home. So the final three is Xavier. I was about to say Zara, Ozza, and
Ozza,
Derek. Yeah.
big
Wow.
D.
Oh my gosh, y'all! We are about to have the weakest final two in the final two history of Big Brother. Ozza
Wait,
and Derek F are about to be the final two, y'all. Watch, watch.
I called it. I
I
called
mean,
it.
Xavier played a good game if that was the final, if he wanted to be sitting next to them in the final two. But I mean, if he can't win, then he doesn't deserve to be in the finals and a shot if he can't win against them two.
But you
He's played
never
a great
know
game.
Um,
with these carnival games.
Facts.
With
Yeah.
these carnival games, anybody could
Well,
accidentally win.
They aren't
is
console games.
yeah, I was about to say the first one is always like they have to stand there or be holding on to something, which I mean that doesn't play into
That's
Xavier's hand
endurance.
because he's so heavy. I think Azza could win that one, but I mean, the other ones are like mental. Like you got to know what people are saying, and I think he has a better social game than possibly the other two. I don't know. I'm gonna hold out for hope for Xavier.
Huh. I want
The
Xavier to
house, the
win, but
house
if
doesn't.
Ozza wins,
Hmm. The jury did. The jury loves Xavier. We saw
Yeah,
that
they
in the
do.
jury segment a couple episodes ago.
oh, it was
Wasn't
drama. One, I didn't know Xavier had a kid, and
oh
they was
that's
getting
low
ready to
blow.
fist fight. See, don't get on TV acting ignorant. I didn't know they was getting ready to fist fight. Hmm. I
Really?
didn't know Xavier had a kid, and why? And see, let me say something to Colin real quick, if he ever
I'm not
watches this.
shocked though.
You the dummy for picking Xavier over Tiffany. You the dummy who wanted Tiffany and Hannah out over the biggest competition. And
Hmm.
Tiffany warned you that Xavier would do exactly this to you. So I don't feel no kind of ways bad for Kylan. So, but don't be talking about people kids. Those are fighting words. I'm happy they didn't fight on national TV because we don't need that headline. But
Also, it's
How,
personal. That's such a personal thing to do. It's not game related. This is all game. Yes, you made it very far, but it was Kylan's fault. Like, I was shocked. I will say I was shocked during that double eviction where Kylan won veto and was like, I'll take Xavier off. I was like, what? Like, you're gone. You're gone next, man. What are you doing? Like, that was your clear path. That was your shot to the finals and final three, at least, final four. And he was just like, nah. That
well,
was like,
Kylan's thing is he wanted to be in the final two with someone he felt was a great player. He did not respect Tiffany's game. He even went to say basically that Derek F did more than Tiffany. Like when he went to his like confessional, he kept saying, you know, Derek F has done a whole lot in this game. People just don't see it. And that's why he really wanted to go to the final three with Derek F and Xavier because he genuinely respected their game more than a Hannah or a Tiffany. To me, it came off as sexism, but we're not going to go into that. Because anybody with a brain would know that Tiffany ran that game.
mhm.
Everybody knows that. Why Kylan didn't know that? Who knows?
He's also
he
comes
would
up
not have
very
beaten Tiffany or Xavier.
yeah, no. He that comes up very judgmental as well of just being like, I want to be next to somebody I deem that played a great game. Well,
Worthy.
guess what? Now you're leaving fourth and three people are considered to have better games than you because they made it this far. Like don't put that judgment on somebody. Like just do your thing, play your game and get there. Like don't sit there and act all high and mighty because you're like this game is better, my game is better, this person's game is better than A, B, and C. Because guess what? You're walking out the door.
Right.
He played his game and he walked on out the door. So, oh well, I don't feel any kind of ways bad for Kylan. I hate to hear that they were almost fighting on TV and he was taking personal low blows at Xavier's kid.
But Kylan is an
And you
emotional person. He's been crying since episode one. So I'm not shocked. He's literally cried more than anybody on the show. Well, not more than Brittany. Brittany, maybe, number one. But
I
Kylan
thought
is a
he
close
was
second.
more kind-hearted. Like I would never think of him to one. I didn't know Xavier had a kid, so it's obvious he didn't. Not saying it to be funny, but I'm saying it's obvious he didn't want that part of his personal life blasted
Revealed.
on TV. And for
Yeah.
you to say something about someone's child after it seems like he already wanted to be private is extremely disrespectful. And I just hate to hear that it came to that over a game. Like you all bonded together to get six. You know, at some point, the cookout, only one of you all could win. So you did what you had to do to be a six. Don't break all of that down because you unfortunately played worse than someone else and it's your turn to go.
Yeah.
Somebody
So
said, well, Peridium, is their name Peridium?
Prettium, yeah.
He said that Kylan called out X and used his nephew against him. That's what he posted.
not
on
his
Twitter.
child. No.
Yeah. So I don't know.
I mean, that's still not great. I mean, he shouldn't have.
It's not necessary.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, come on, dude. Just respect the gameplay. I mean, you could be salty about it, but just know that he saw you as a threat and he didn't want to go up against you. And this was the best option for him. Like, legit, this is like the best option. He's going to go to the jury. He's going to be so salty. He's going to talk to everybody. And they're just going to be like, wow, he played a really good game. And I think he'll come around to it. But it doesn't sound like he did a classy thing by bringing up personal matters, somebody outside the game, family, like
a child.
Yeah.
Some people
the
are saying
nephew
he
is a
just
child.
he refused to leave the house, like almost like, oh no, I'm not leaving.
So now you a crazy person.
That's what the tweets are saying. So I don't know.
I gotta watch it because you know I like some good drama. I hate to see it from the cookout, but I'm like, you refusing to leave the house. Now you know I can't see that.
The game. What about the game? You'll find out. You'll find out, okay? Oh, man. I mean, I just don't understand. Notice. Kylan, you know, as a game point of view, I can't beat you, so I'd rather go against Azza than you. No, I understand. Yes, from my point of view. I'm wondering, no heads up or anything. And this guy, I kept you in the last week.
Not leaving.
Is it just how the game goes? No, of course. No. I'm just adding. No. I thought it was a whole challenge. I would have loved to give him a heads up, but I respect you too much as a player. And given that he was the sole vote to evict, I knew if you had time, you probably could have made things go another way.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I thought the whole Kobe thing, raising him to be a man and
go
face
out
challenges.
the door.
Are you talking about my nephew right now? I'm asking about named after Kobe. Kobe doesn't step down from a challenge; he accepts it. I suggest you stop talking about my nephew. I think that's not really up to me. I think that if your nephew has no way to look up to, that keep talking about my nephew. If your nephew has no way to look up to, that is going to figure out
honestly,
how to raise him.
Kylan, I need you to leave right now, Kylan.
No, I just think that's unfortunate. He doesn't have a man.
Kylan, I need you to leave right now. Thank you.
Oh wait, is this one mine? That's yours.
Yo.
Okay.
That is insane.
He was not leaving. He said, but your nephew's name after Kobe?
No one never has that much time to confront. Like you got to do your confrontation over in the jury house. Like no one ever gets that much time to say all of that, and that was complete disrespect.
Woo.
100%. I mean, to say that, oh, he's gonna be raised by a coward. I got shivers. I got chills. I was like, no. Like that went way worse than I already thought the worst, and it went so much further than I thought it would have. Like that's so.
Look at me
Oh
finding
my
clips
gosh.
on live chat.
Right? How you find a clip that fast?
Breaking news.
Oh, that's wow.
Disappointing.
I had my
That's
hands sweating.
disappointing.
Okay, y'all. Woo.
Well, I know what I'm about to go watch.
Dang.
Not that awkward encounter again. I'm not watching that again.
I got to see the whole thing. I got to see from the beginning of the episode to the end. I want to know what he says to Julie afterwards. How does he apologize? Like that is sore loser picture of a sore loser. I don't like that.
If it's Xavier and anybody else like Big D next to him, do you think Hyland votes for Big D or do you think he votes for Xavier?
He's not voting for Xavier.
He's not voting for Xavier, but who cares? Everybody else in the jury is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
that
man.
Was so. Why did nobody stepped in? Production didn't step in. Julie was quiet. She was on mute. I thought she would. She be rushing them girls.
She
out
stepped
that
in
door.
at the end. Was like piling. Yeah, but like you said, that was a good 60 seconds worth of standoff.
Mm-hmm.
We've never seen anybody.
That was 2 minutes. It was 1 minute and 58 seconds. He was between being evicted and standing there.
Yeah, we never see anybody get that much time. They want CBS won. I see you, CBS.
Yeah.
I see you. You wanted that. I ain't gonna go there, but you wanted that CBS, and I'm mad Kylan gave it to him. I'm so mad he gave it to him.
All right, you guys. Well, let us know in the comment section below who's your favorite on the first episode of the Survivor 41.
Right. We talking about Survivor. Thank you so much for tuning in for episode 1 of Survivor. Definitely get in the comments. Let us know what you think about episode 1. I can let you know right now. I don't know if the trio will be together for all of the episodes, but I'm definitely reviewing what is today? Thursday? I don't know how to do with the challenge. It'll probably be the same times, but I'll try to bring the guys in every once in a while to review Survivor as well. We're very excited that the season has started. Thank you all so much for joining us. Go ahead and like this video as well. Thank you, Charles, with Charles One Online. Charles, go ahead and shout out what you're doing for October real quick.
Yes, thank you, because I was just about to say that. For the month of October, I am doing my very first 31 Days of Thrills, is what I'm calling it. I'm trying to do an interactive, like, movie marathon watch along for 31 days. It's going to be thrillers/horror movies. Go to my Instagram, The Charles Warren. Follow me. I will eventually make a video and like a flyer to promote it. What I'm going to do is I'm going to release like the week of movies at a time, so people don't be trying to watch ahead, but like a week of movies at a time. That the movie for that day, you can watch it at any time throughout the day. But then people that are participating will be sending me their 15-second reactions to their favorite scene if they're scared or whatever. So when you come to my Instagram page, you will see a movie, and then you'll start seeing people's reactions that are following along with the watch-a-thon. And then that night, I will be going live from my bed, and we're going to be talking about that movie for that day. What was our favorite part? Would we have survived? What was the scariest? Just randomly talking, not super formal, like kind of like this, but more relaxed. And I love that Instagram, you can have like 4 people now on Instagram. So yeah. So we're going to do that for every day of October.
And they have to follow you on Instagram to participate, right?
Right. If you follow me on YouTube, you'll see it after everything happens. Because I'll compile it and put it on YouTube later on. But you need to follow along, watch the movies with us, talk about it on Instagram, and we'll have a good time.
And Instagram is what? The Charles Warren?
The Charles Warren. It will be hashtag 31 Days of Thrills.
Okay, and thank you again, Drew. Drew is with Angel Cake Entertainment. And while we're on really quick, I want to give you a huge thank you, Drew. I appreciate you so much for participating on my channel. So many subscribers have come to me and say, oh, I found you through Drew, and I really enjoy your content as well. So I want to thank you, because as a little baby YouTuber, that means so much for people to support my channel, and you don't have to do it, but I appreciate that you do. So thank you for that as well, Drew.
Oh, no problem. Thank you. Thank you. I love hearing that. And thank you for having me on, because I love talking to you and Charles. Like, anytime you are willing to want to have me on, I'm always excited to be on because I just know we always have a great time laughing, joking around.
I feel the same. I call us the trio. Someone in the comments called us the trios. I'm going to pick that up. So I appreciate that. I'm going to let everyone go because I know me and Drew got fantasy football to watch. So
I don't do football.
Have a good night. We'll definitely be back in 3 episodes for the challenge. And you'll see if we do something, you'll see us on Twitter when we get together again. So thank you all so much. Have a great night. Bye.
Peace out.